Hi, my name's John from John and Claire Stewart Equine Training. I'm just going to continue working Heather here. We've done a little bit of round penning as you've just seen from the previous video. Now before we desensitize a horse to our saddles, lariats, saddles, boots, whatever, we like to teach them the previous lesson so they have an understanding of turning and facing a scary object, which is later on in the training. But as we desensitize his horse, instead of us having it on a lead rope or putting hobbles on it and the horse not being able to express itself and run away from the fear, this way we can monitor the fear levels that a horse is going to experience, because all I have to do is, if the horse looks like it's going to have too much fear from an object, I can actually walk away, but then get the horse to turn and face me. So then when we're leading him at a show or in a lead lesson, at a lead class at a show, we could actually have the horse concentrating on us more rather than being scared or excited from other horses and rides, etc. So what I'm going to do in this one is, and you take as long as it takes with these exercises. We don't rush the horse because then we get holes in the horse somewhere. But what I want to try and do today, if I get time, and this horse has been through this a number of times, but it's just doing it repetitively, is I want to put front boots on him. I want to be able to put the head stall on him, and he has had a head stall on him. I want to be able to bridle him, etc. But I want to be able to rub those items over his body now, her body. With Heather, anywhere from the shoulders down, she's petrified because this is an untouched, or was an untouched 7-year-old. Around her back and her back end, she doesn't like, so that's going to take a while. Now, I prefer to put a head collar on them for safety, which I'll show you a bit later on. But for now, this is how we desensitize a horse to all these different items. And you can use this exercise as well for clipping out ears, etc. Now, what I'll do, I'll just do a quick bit of round penning like we just did before, just so she's listening to me more. And then I'll continue on with the desensitization. Okay, so what I might do is just send her off. I'll just do a couple of inside turns. Get off. Good. Up. She ignores me. Every time something goes wrong in our training, we always go back to something easier for her, which is, first thing we teach her is the inside turn and face. Good, yeah, well done. Good job. Thank you. We've taught her to follow me wherever I go. Good, yeah, well done. So we just want to make sure they're going to be there. Awesome. Now when we're going to touch the horse, if she moves her head away, I can always say, can you turn and face me? Then I pat her between the eyes, and then I walk off, at the same time getting her to turn and face me. Then I walk back up to her. She's not really facing me here, so I say inside turn, and then I give her a pat, and then I walk away, getting her to move her feet and turn and face me. Now I keep doing that till I can pat her on the forehead, and then I might pat her on the chin or the cheek and then walk away. At any stage that it looks like the horse is going to run away out of fear, which you'll see with the other items, we actually walk away and get her to turn and face quicker. But what I like to do is run my hand, cheek, bit of the neck, and then say, turn and face me. And then I walk off. Now every time I'm walking off, I'm taking the pressure off the scary item, which is me and my hand or lariat or saddle. It allows her time to go, the scary objects will disappear, I don't have to worry. get to catch the horse over and over and teach her to actually look at me, not want to leave. The reason we say move your feet, and no doubt a few of us have seen this, is some horses when you saddle them up they stand real rigid, and then you ask them to move and then they go off and buck and carry on. This way, if there's any tension there, we've asked her to move, and that'll help her to relax, helps her to get used to being forward for when we ride her, yeah? So what I do, I work on both sides of the horse, always concentrating to get her to look at me, pat different parts of the body. Now here, down, she gets funny. So what I might do is just touch it and then say, hey, turn and face me. And as you can see, she jumped pretty bad. So what we keep doing is, I keep coming up saying, look at me, give her a rub, touch the leg, turn and face me. Good girl, well done. And I just keep going over this till she's a lot calmer and lets me touch them without having to run off, yeah? Good girl, eh? Now there are corrections in this. If she was to get into a habit of running off, I'll keep calling her back a few times, but if she does run off and gets into a pattern of, hey, it's easier to run off, and not stand there, I'll actually send her off to 3 laps in the round yard, do a couple of inside turns, and then get her to turn and face me. And we just keep running over the whole horse, just working our way nicely over her. As you can see, I can touch her leg a little bit there, and then I say, come back, turn and face me. Good girl. Give her another big pat. And I've got to remember where she's scared, so I can just sort of touch it a little bit and say, hey, come here and turn and face me. Now I'll keep doing this routine over and over till I can touch the whole horse's body. Okay? Every time she leaves, I control the nose and get her to turn and face me, and I take the pressure off her. So we can actually stop her from walking now by saying move your hips over, yeah? So she's run off. I'll send her off for her 3 laps. And then I'll ask her to turn and face me. Good girl. Now she's worried about someone else coming down the track here. All I have to do to control her is say, hey, please do what I want and not worry about the other distractions. Good girl. So we go back to something earlier. Now, which is controlling her movement. Good girl. Good girl, well done. Then I start to desensitize her again, get her to move her feet. Has to be coming to me. Then I give her a rub, give her a pat, find all those little spots we can touch, ones we can't, and just slowly work on them and then say, can you turn and face? and I go side to side. So here she's moved ahead. I correct her and say, look at me, thank you. And then I just keep doing the same, working on areas we can touch, areas we can't touch, which was this front leg. So it's a little better. And then I get her to lead and follow me. Now, we just continue over the whole horse like this. And as I said, you spend a couple hours doing it because the more hours you spend on this, the more relaxed, the more confidence your horse will have. For the next set of items we're going to do about saddling, etc., I'm going to do it with a lead rope because it's quicker for me and it'll give you an idea of how this side of it is the same as how we should hold a lead rope. Yeah? Now to put a head collar on a horse, think of refining everything that you plotted. So this inside turns and stuff, we can always make them better, because the better they are, the more control we'll have on it. Now with the lead rope, I only just use an everyday standard lead rope. I don't use rope head collars as I just believe you don't need them, as I can prove to you with this horse. She follows me around without one. If we need to use things that are harsher, e.g. harsher bits, harsher spurs, there must be a hole in the training. Because if you train a horse correctly, they should have more attention on you, they should listen to you better, and be a bit more willing, yeah? So even just with the head collar here, she sort of gets a little bit anxious, so we'd have to desensitize her to this one. So the same process is I don't hide head collars and all that sort of crap from a horse. It is, here comes your head collar. So I want her to put her nose in it, so I'll say you turn and face it, and then I sort of rack off. Yeah, well done. Stay with me. Good job, hey? Important too with your head collar, not just to put it on the horse, but you can sit there and say, hey, I'm going to get you to turn and face it, give her a rub with it, and get her to move her feet and follow you again. Come here. And then we keep, turn and face it. And then we keep doing the same process again with this, stay here, till we can rub the whole horse, even those touchy leggy parts. Right, give me. Good girl, well done. Don't forget to do both sides of your horse. Come here. Good on you. Good on you. Okay, well done. Good on you. And you just work your way over the horse gradually. And always make sure the horse is looking at you. Don't accept it to look slightly to the side. If it won't look at you, get it to turn and face you again. Well done. Well done. Now to put the head collar on, I like them to come into it. So all we have to do is use that come to your cue, or turn and face your cue to say, hey, you come here. You come here, and that'll actually teach over time for her to put her nose in the head collar. And then I let her go. Let me get her to turn and face. Now, just a quick note on head collars with rope head collars, etc., etc. You've got to remember, every time she gets fearful, I have to try and make her less fearful by doing what we've just done with desensitizing. Okay, now if I have a rope head collar on her, and as a lot of trainers say, you have more control with a rope head collar, I'll prove it wrong for the simple fact, I've got a web head collar, and I've got a lead rope in my hand not connected, and we know this horse will go rah instantly. Well, I can still say, hey horse, can you come here? And it's not even connected. So it is a myth when people say use the rope head collars with knots, because it's just good training. It's not the actual how hard these should be. Yeah. Now I'll continue on this way actually for a little bit, because why not? Now, the more items we use, the better. I better actually start with a little item. Getting a boot on a horse. This will take me a while. There we go. Turn and face me all the time. Come on. We grab the boot. We do the same principle. We say, hey, doll, stay with me, good on ya. And I touch her everywhere. Touch the leg a little bit, and see she's getting a bit anxious here, so then I say, hey, come back here. And then the pressure goes off her so she doesn't feel trapped, or the fear won't go too bad. Come here. Good. This side. Well done, come here. Then we might open it up a little bit and say, you know, give me up, give her a good pat, you know, let her have it everywhere. Yeah, well done, hey? Down the legs a little bit. She started to quiver when I got to her knee, so I take it off and say turn and face. Come here. Good girl, hey? Come here. Well done, good girl, hey? And the more we can sack out that body, the more confidence your horse is going to have. So she's gone a bit tense here, but that's okay, so I might rub it a little bit more and then say, hey, that's all I wanted, come in. Come on. Good job. Every time she avoids, ask the nose to come towards us. Good girl, eh? Good girl, hey? And you could look at that as a little saddle blanket, rug. Ask her to step. Come on. Now you do find sometimes when you put boots on a horse or a saddle blanket or a saddle that you can't do the inside turns anymore. It's only because the emotional side of the horse, hey, come here, just gets a bit too much for the cues that we've taught them. So all you do is go back to the basics of teaching them to do inside turns whilst they've got the saddle or boots or etc. on. There's no need to say, horse, how dare you run off, it's scared. And the more you sort of play with these exercises, you'll get a horse that wrong boot. You'll get a horse that has more faith in you, has a lot more confidence. The horse goes to leave. Come on. If the horse ever gets dull like Heather did then and just becomes, oh, whatever, I just pick up my energy rate. And as you can see there, she goes, oh my God, and then she actually hips over properly. Don't just let them just dawdle around, yeah? They have to do what we want when we want, yeah? And to do that, all we have to do is put more energy into the horse from us, yeah? Come Same principles. Nice big sack out everywhere. Now she gets defensive just in this area. Now a lot of horses, when you go for this area, will try and bite you. Not all, but some. It's only because they're petrified that you're going to hurt their legs, yeah? So anyway, so what we'll do, we'll sit there and rub, and you can see that she's watching. I might give it another try. Yeah, well done. Well done. You want her to learn to be able to stand by herself and have the confidence that none of this is going to hurt her. Something as simple as brushing her. It is all the same. It is desensitize the head, the body. She gets a bit anxious just here. I can control the nose and her brain and say, hey, can you turn and face me? Then I might just start brushing somewhere else. I don't hold her. Then I say, can you turn and face it? Just do little areas by little areas because you're desensitizing her the whole time, yeah? Good for you, dog. Now it is hard on these sort of untouchables because they do get dirty and we don't wash them and etc. But we have to brush them before we put a saddle on. I know a lot of blokes don't. We need to. And just go little by little. Come back. Good. So the rump area there was a bit sensitive. When you're doing these two with no contact and doing it at liberty, always be careful the horse doesn't swing around and kick us. So you need to be aware of what the horse is thinking, and just make sure you stay away from the kicking danger areas whenever you touch under the tummy, around their hind, etc. When you're brushing around these front areas, just watch they're not going to get too scared and try and take a bite out of your arm. But if we take our time, we should be able to teach her. You don't have to be scared and run off or defend yourself by trying to bite, strike or kick. So the longer we take with these sort of jobs, the better it is because the horse will be better at the end of it. And it is actually quicker by doing it this way because we can start to say, well, lead better. not too hard. Well, if she does it again, she's not, she's going to stand, which is good. I would send her off for 3 circles, tell her to come and turn and face me, and then I'll desensitize her again, because she has to learn that just hocking off to there and turning facing isn't acceptable, yeah? Good girl, eh? And then I leave. Come on. So she needs to do that a bit quicker. Yeah. Awesome, I hope that helps you sort of get your horse over little scary items. Clipping is one of the main ones I see all the time. Horses that don't like being rugged, etc. You can follow this same process built into a rug situation. Yeah, so hopefully that helps you. Thank you.